A very warm welcome to the inaugural BRAC by TTF, Thailand Tourism Forum, which stands for Bars, Restaurants and Concepts. I'm your host today, Sumi Soorian, Senior Advisor of the Phuket Hotels Association. This segment is centered around not just another food and drink outlet. It's a session that we get rethinking about restaurants and bars with creative concepts. This event is also a think piece from the creative space of design, concept, operations, and ideas that go beyond the all-day dining outlet or coffee shop. So let's prepare to talk. We're going to go bold with new thinking as we crawl out of the box and into the fire. Today we've got some really exciting topics covered by our great lineup of speakers and expertise who are design mavens, creative souls in the bar and restaurant space who are also entrepreneurs that will get you out of your box. So now let's begin. As it is my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker today, Phillip, founder of Phillip Pond, and he will touch on the topic of picture perfect, what creates a good space. Welcome, Phillip.
I think maybe Romain is picture perfect. Okay, let's jump in. So you guys, we are in a global feast of food and beverage. As imperfect as this era is, it is a time of abundance and connoisseurship like we've never seen before. We are extremely lucky to be here, and I want to recount my version of this brief history and why it can spur us forward. About 25 years ago, I would say, we have a lot to credit Anthony Bourdain with opening our eyes to the culture of food. He told us the story of what goes on behind the scenes, where the food comes from, what's making it, and he invited us deeply into that world. Shortly thereafter, around that time, we were in the throes of full-throttle globalization. Asia joined the scene of the F&B connoisseurship movement and quickly became the leader. This was totally turned up to 11 by the advent of social media and broadband, and I would say took it even to 12 with the pandemic. And here's what the pandemic did for us, according to me. It made us realize, after all the closings of precious restaurants, what we had to lose, the pinnacle that we had reached, and to realize where we are now, that we don't want to let that happen again, and we'll do anything to keep this level of connoisseurship going. So here we are. I have a little appetizer tray of principles for you to think about when working with designers like me, how to develop F&B, and as you'll see, the beyond. So many times, a client will come to me with the intention of building a community. We all know there's a private members club, maybe it's a wellness community, maybe it's an athletic retreat. This is ideal because in these scenarios, what you're creating is not only a celebrated venue, but one that feels among its audience like it's owned by the audience. It has a life on its own. Recently, I was in Barcelona eating and drinking my way through that town as people do, always sitting at the counter where you can interact with the makers. And what I found out after getting over my nerdy hesitation of asking the chefs and bartenders about their concepts and what they did to open their spaces, is that I was actually in the company of a million other gourmet pilgrims like myself, all on the same trail, armed with lists presented to them by their friends and industry people. And so I had found my community. And the concept here is you don't need to make a community so often the way we think we have to, starting a project, but you actually just need to find it. I had found the community there. And when you find the community, it's already a strong foundation for building your projects. It goes to buildings as well as communities of people. Sometimes you find a beloved space or location, and instead of building something new, work with that one. It's the best possible foundation. I've gone through a lot of renovation and reuse recently, and it's a very beautiful process to capitalize on what exists and let it inspire you. Once you have that community, you need to dig deeper. And let me see about digging deeper. Yes, there you go. Okay, these are just miscellaneous slides from my work, so I'm not going to explain them. I was speaking with Gordon Candlin recently, one of the people behind the publication Roadbook, which is devoted to travel by creatives all around the world. And he has this to say: with digital content driving the conversation, the market has become extremely fragmented. This actually gives us a huge opportunity to go deeper and connect with people on their terms more specifically. It's also helped by the fact that because creator culture is so vibrant and detailed, the world of media around travel and hospitality is no longer on the basic huge platforms that we all know. These people are finding each other and they're creating a richness of connection that's much like the early days of the internet, but now at scale. So success in hospitality depends on understanding these niche audiences. How do we connect with them? Sometimes it's with consultants like us who think very holistically. Other times, and here's a profound lesson I learned from projects like Eaton and the Bardo project in Savannah, the owner makes a commitment early on to hire operators that understand the existing communities and concepts and help build on those foundations. We have members of those contexts at the table from day one in the creative process, and it makes a huge difference. It takes a leap of faith, but the results are clear. This next concept, a little bit of a converse to the community building. Let's stop sharing. We could talk about it in terms of members clubs and building communities that feel special. What's one thing that they have in common? They know each other better than the outsiders. We basically have, something that I learned early on in design was how to think about a space in terms of choreography, storyboarding approach to design, going from meaningful point to point. Now we have a dark side of that. It's the Instagrammable moment. It's the oversharing, so that the experience has become less human. We forget that someone's there running it and can make it different every time, and it becomes a checklist of these things that we have to see. So I would urge everyone here, as we create together, to stop it. Not share everything, not reveal everything, keep some things secret. And I'm not talking about making a speakeasy. I mean creating a platform where things can evolve night after night in different ways. I have a little bit more that's going to be hard to reach. I got to cover this though, making it timeless, and maybe I'll stop here. I'm an American, so disclaim everything I say about government and what it can do for its society. But I would say that in general, the world is not building civic spaces. And when you think about restaurants and hotels and bars, you've got an opportunity and even an obligation to widen the scope of your ambitions and realize that you're building the public realm. Not only does it make your space more useful in the future when whatever program is there has evolved, but it builds more timeless spaces that create a community for everyone to love. Thank you.
And next speaker is Pam, and she wears many hats, but today she's coming on to talk about the F&B in the digital world. So Pam is the entrepreneur and also owner of the food Instagram called PP Gallery. So welcome on stage, Pam.
Thank you. I'm talking about the food and beverage in digital world. First, I start with Lisa. She just posted a new beverage that called Tie Up the World for Erewhon, the supermarket in US. So after she posted this, so it become viral all over the world. Like last year, we have this one. Have you tried this one? Who like it? You don't like it? I've seen this, so I cannot find the original one called the Fix. These are chocolatier in Dubai. So I tried the local one. It's good, but it's become viral because of TikTok. So she didn't speak anything, she just eat. And it's very viral around the world until it become for the ice cream, cookies, the Dubai chocolate menu. Once we talk about the market outlook for food and beverage, The number of growth, 4.6% in 2025, is come from the Kasikorn, but other bank research, the range is about 4 to 5%, and they say that the growth of the market will be focused on street food and the people willing to pay for the high quality products. Like nowadays, our lifestyle has changed, so the food delivery service is become more important for us, right? So we busy, so we need to order the food and send to office and also send to home. And the trend about the food, the first one is plant-based. Many people become vegan because of the health condition, whatever, or for some people, they don't want to eat a product from animals. So the plant-based foods and beverages become more popular. And the recycled packaging can also make the product look more friendly and good image. And AI, it's a bit funny because I tried some menu that generated from AI. For the patient health, now food and beverage is more personalizing. Like if you want to, if you have some health condition, so you need the meal that fit to your health condition. And for the experience, like we going to the restaurant, we don't need just the good food and beverage. We also need a good ambience, a good experience. And like me, we are in the aging society, and this group of people have very high purchasing power. So we talk about the digital marketing strategy. After we set the goal, we choose the target group. I always draw the customer journey, why customers have to buy our product, how they know our product, and what's the factor that make they buy and come back to buy again. After we draw the customer journey, we will design the marketing channel for both online and offline, and we start to make the content. The content for online, the first 3 seconds must be short, clear. If the message cannot grab the attention, you will be scrolled down very fast. For the high-value product, they need the storytelling, but for the price-sensitive product, you need to have time constraint. They have less time to make the decision to purchase. And now, the lifestyle of shopping, people change to shopping 24 hours. Like some brand, they live at midnight because some customer, they shopping after, like before they going to bed. And if you have a slow response to the message, sometimes you cannot sell the product because they change their mind in the morning. And the real content, it's become more popular for review for the food and beverage, because people need the one who review to get their own experience more than paid experience. And micro-influencer with the followers around 5,000 followers will become more popular, because if you see their content, if it's good, it can viral like 1,000 or millions views with the good content. And if you have done all of them and you analyze the result, if it's not worked, so you go to the paid content. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The next speaker in line, we've got Shane. Shane is the Cluster Director of Sales and Marketing from Kimpton Malay Bangkok. So Shane, welcome on stage.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm warming up for Taylor Swift here. Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to get cracking right onto it. The rise and fall of food and beverage outlets, small caveat at the beginning, this is my opinion, so please, if you disagree with it, that's also fine. I consider it food and beverage wins and or fails. I have a bit of a list as to what I think happens when you win in food and beverage. You do what you say is on the box. It's very easy to understand what the company is representing. Consistent in product and services, of course, are original and are aspirational. We know our competition. Good food and beverage understands the competition. They know what's happening down the road. And of course, desirable. But of course, if there's a win, there has to be a loss. Failures in food and beverage, loose or difficult concepts, endless menus, I think we've all been there. 76-page menu, half an hour ordering process, first 5 items, unavailable. Brilliant. Poor cognizance, non-desirable, obviously just the opposite of desirable. Poor perception of value, nothing worse than spending a lot of money on something and then coming back in and realizing it probably wasn't worth it. And my favorite, copycats. If you know me, I'm offline vocal about that. A few icons for you. Sam Law, Starbucks, Sawn, The Smoking Pug, one of my favorites, and Sushi Row. They all start with S. That was easy for this presentation, so I did it that way. But they all have so many things in common. Sam Law, if you've been there, best chicken wings. It's been contentious in another presentation I made, but they really are the best chicken wings in Bangkok. Starbucks, oh, you drink at Starbucks. Not sure, that's great. But do go to any airport around the world and just show me how many vacant seats are in the airport Starbucks. Sawn, we now have a 3-star Michelin restaurant that's Thai, globally revered. Congratulations to the team there. The Smoking Pug, everybody I know kind of went there as their first non-Thai food in Bangkok. And Sushi Row, well, if you've not been there yet, you probably will, or if you've got children like me, you'll be queuing waiting for that train to come around very soon in Central World. Other things they have in common, the concepts are clear, all of them. Starbucks does coffee and or food, but it does coffee, that's the concept. And very, very clearly what they're doing. There's notoriety. Well, you know what, I couldn't get a seat at Sawn, I couldn't get through that booking process, I didn't get there. Well, that's what makes it so great. So when you do get the seat, you really feel like you've achieved something. Consistency for quality. All of those brands are consistent. I think everybody would agree that there's great brisket at the Smoking Pug. They know exactly what they're doing with that. They're not trying to sell me pad thai because they do brisket. It's fantastic. Brand equity. Sushi Row, 30 years in the business. Now the biggest selling global empire of sushi chain restaurants in the world. And hard to get a seat, sort of. As I said, people always laugh about Starbucks, but you know what? It's always a great seat. It's a great seat to get if you need to work. They've nailed their concept and they understand what they're doing. Their teams are trained. Their messages are clear. Their communication's invaluable. They really understand who they're talking to. Some new buzzwords. Sustainable comes up all the time, but do it. Be sustainable where you can. Make sure that you're steering away from plastics and things like this where possible. Everyone has to make a difference. Storytelling. These concepts without stories just simply don't work. And each one of them, if we go to Sawn, Southern Thai cuisine, there's a story behind the chef. He comes from Nakhon Si Thammarat. Everybody becomes very aware of the story of Sawn, which makes everybody want to go there even more. Support local, just do it. Do it where you can. Support local every time where it's possible. I think that's a great thing. Yeah, round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. Social presence, we need it, but do it properly. Let's not overkill it. Superior quality in any of those verticals has to be there. So if it's not quality and it's not something that people are desiring to have, you really want to get what you're paying for, but it should be quality at all points. Have a sense of humor about it. Have humility. Make sure you can laugh at yourself in food and beverage. Have super teams, which means support your teams. Make sure you're constantly training, retraining, giving them new opportunities. And set communication expectations. If that item is 86th, please tell people at the beginning of the dining experience. Don't let me go through that 76-page menu and find out half an hour in that you don't have what I'm looking for. The checklist, really quickly, is the concept clear? Is there room to move and stay the same? Make sure you stay in your lane. And if you're going to move to the right-hand side of that lane, make sure you've got room to come back. How aligned the team members? Is everybody reading from the same script there? Does everybody understand what we're doing in that restaurant or that bar? Avoid too many promotions. It's annoying. It's not readable. It's not understandable. Places that have 65 promotions a day, they don't sell very well. Very difficult. Know your consumer. Use focus groups. Nothing better than calling out the industry and saying, hey, come in and check what we're doing, please. If you're changing direction, be careful of whiplash. Don't do it too fast. If something doesn't work, that's awesome. So awesome. Just change it. It's so good to change and learn from your mistakes. And my favorite, be original and own your space. Make sure that you lead from the front, don't follow from the back. Choice is great, but you can't be everything for everyone. So please, if Dan and Dana from Smoking Pug are here, don't pad Thai next week. Thanks, everyone. My name's Shane. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
And next, we have a duo. We have Samantha, who is the owner of Bangkok Foodies. Samantha also wears many hats, and she's coming as representative of Bangkok Foodies. And we have Chef Black, who is the owner and founder of Blackitch Kitchen. And they're going to touch upon the subject restaurants, dining, and also outlets, eat, love, and drink. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Shane, for leading us into supporting local. That's a nice coincidence. Yeah, so it's a bit tight. We have 6 minutes. That's where I would normally say that's what she said, but that would be inappropriate. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So, okay, let's talking about buzzwords, right? Sustainable. What else is there? Carbon neutral. What else is there, Black?
What's it?
About buzzwords.
It's like a zero waste.
Zero waste, for example. Yeah. Okay, so, you know, in terms of marketing, it's fantastic. You know, it's so hot right now to be into sustainability. But the reality is local. Do people actually give a sheep? Do they actually care about what truly is supporting local? So, Chef Black, can you tell us a little bit about, in your opinion, why should we care about local, artisanal, and organic?
Yes, I have only 3 topics that are quite important that they connect together about the culture, people, and the planet. For the culture, you can support the traditional farming and celebrate our community's heritage. And so to promote sustainability and environmental awareness. And so the next one, the people. You can enhance their health and the well-being by supporting the local farmers. And for the last one, the planet. You can reduce the carbon footprint and limit the chemical pollution, and can support the biodiversity, leading to a healthier environment.
Okay, thank you. I think what a lot of people don't realize is supporting local. It is really quite profound, because if you don't support local, it's essentially the end.
Yes.
And anyway, so we'll get into, we've questioned why should people care, and now we'll go into why actually people ended up caring. Okay, the most obvious one is COVID. So, I mean, COVID has affected us all universally, and COVID has basically forced us to face our own mortality. Morbid, right? But it's true. I mean, we are selfish by nature, so we're concerned about our own health. So when we're concerned about the health of our loved ones and at the health of ourselves, then we start to look at healthy options, alternative options, you know, local and sustainable. And then we have what's happening, especially right at this moment. For example, you know, we have the fires, the flooding. You know, even flooding, it could be affecting your town, your hometown, or even in your own backyard. So these natural disasters, again, looking at our own mortality and about our comfort zone. And this has really forced us to face, to come with some solutions, and that is looking at more local, sustainable, organic options. And
one.
Lalisa, as Pam pointed out, idolization. So how did we end up caring? We look at our idols. For example, as Pam explained, Lalisa from Blackpink, she's now endorsing a smoothie, which is like 800 baht. However, it's supposed to be supporting organic and local, and so that's something that, you know, it may bother us a little bit that we're looking up to these sorts of influencers and idols, but it's extremely important that, that they back us up on this. There's a lot of misconception about local. Oh my God, it's so expensive. You know, in terms of going to the supermarket and comparing something that is artisanal compared to something that is mass-produced, so to say. So maybe Black, you can enlighten us?
Yes, it's just the part of the reason. The first one is like a small batch. If you compare with the mass product, and there is higher production cost, and but it's high quality. You can find high quality of the organic food, and you can hard to find like a skilled labor.
Right.
Higher maintenance, and for the seasonal, you can sometimes find easier or harder if have or not enough for the.
Sometimes you cannot even find it at all because it's seasonal.
Sometimes it's not enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
because you're not freaking buying it. So start with that. No, I'm. So even just the small amount of support for your artisanal organic producers, you know, it makes a huge difference if we collectively support your local farmers, local producers, because it allows them to buy raw materials at a better price, improve production efficiency, and create a cash flow stream. Lastly, how do we make them care? We talked about why they care, what happened to them caring. So here are quickly some points.
you can like, make a workshop or like a local tour, artist tour with their local market or local food, something like that.
Yeah, and of course, again, the influencers for marketing, and this is extremely important.
Yeah, or the pop-up with the more reach the people in the higher traffic, easier to find the local food.
Exactly, be in sort of more the mass areas to try to reach more people. Blind tastings?
Tracing, because but for blind tasting, you can compare with their importing as well, with their local
Exactly,
food.
Yes. And pop culture, you know, like collaborate with, you know, funky artists, the musicians, you know, make local badass. And lastly, cross-industry collabs. For example, you don't have to work directly with someone in your field. You can collaborate with, let's say, if it's cheese,
chocolate,
beer, that kind of thing. So, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good car.
Next, we have Nigel Oakins he's a co-founder and executive chair of Serendipity Media and NJ Media and Medium Imagination, who also owns Cocktail and Time Out magazines. And he's here to talk about key strategies to communication on the media side. Welcome, Nigel.
Thank you, Sumi. I see they've put a chair up here, which is for pregnant women, children, and old people. So I'm going to sit down. And I'm going to read you because I've only got 3 minutes and I've timed this. It's 2 minutes, 51 seconds. So here goes. Originality. You might have the best original idea in the world, but if you share it with your entire list of beloved media friends and favorite influencers, the message may no longer be original. Any decent editor will throw your generic press releases in the digital bin without opening them. I get 200 a day. I don't look at a single one of them. Thank you. All approaches for free media content should be done one-on-one on an individual basis with an exclusive angle for every different media. Why is that? Because if we publish your generic message, no one reads it, and the social media algorithms will kill our brilliant websites. If you send a press release to a top influencer like Pan here, who has 450,000, not 450 by the way, and ask for a free post, I think they or she may tell you to fuck off. In the future, print and digital and every other form of media will do the same. Over time, unearned media will be an unwanted thing, and it'll be a thing of the past in a very short period. creativity, to try to create your own marketing message for genuine authenticity. Do not expect in-house media creative teams or content creation agencies to come up with good ideas for you. Rarely do these in-house teams, or as they call themselves, storytellers, have highly creative people working for them. It's just not a job that the truly creative person really wants to do. Create your own ideas, then work with the best influencers in your field, and then ask them what media brands they would like to be associated with, such as Vogue, GQ, Time Out, Cocktail, Thailand's favorite restaurants. And put them together with the top editors at those brands, and you're going to get a great campaign paid for, of course. Honesty. Your message should be honest, and the environment it's in should be honest too. Stay away from any media association that could contain content harmful to your brand or that relies on AL to help rewrite other people's content. If you're marketing any hospitality, anything other than street food, stay well clear of violence, sensational news, and content aggregators. Stay with media partners that create original content, have genuine audiences and engagement, and in an editorial environment that fits your brand. Now, summary. Your audience is way more interested to hear from someone they respect and follow about the good things that your brand does rather than hear it directly from you. I will finish with a story. Chef Pam is an incredibly ambassador for Thai cuisine, but she's been done to death in the kitchen. We interviewed her recently on the beach in the Maldives, talking about the difficulties of a woman building a career as a chef while having children and starting a family. The Ritz-Carlton paid for that, and it will release this Friday. And finally, promise me you'll never send out another general press release addressed to Dear Beloved Media. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nigel. And next, we have also touching on the subject of effective communication in media is Jay. He's the Chief Operating Officer for the Tiger. And welcome, Jay, on stage.
Hi, guys. Those of you wondering where my hair went, the years haven't been kind to me. Just bear with me. So, like Sumi said, hi, my name is Jay. Just to give you a little background so it makes sense what I'm talking about, I work for the Tiger and I primarily focus on video production. So I'm going to be talking to you about how you guys are marketing your products. So just to have a quick look on what's happened in 2024, there's been a 16% increase in digital ad spending. That's 34 billion baht. So a lot of people here, some of them being clients, all of us have contributed in spending 34 billion baht. And there's one thing that we've noticed, especially in the last year, is that influencers, like Nigel just mentioned as well, people like connecting. And influencers are the most best way, really, to market your product or market a message. Now, why is that? People like connection, yeah? So, Thailand's Personality of the Year, Moodang, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I think everyone in this room has heard about Moodang. There's a Moodang crypto coin. Moodang's in the parliament. Yeah, it's now predicting Donald Trump's going to be the president. The Thai politics are starting to get Moodang involved. It's because you connect with this animal. Now, whether you think it's cute or you think it's ugly, it's just a slimy old animal that's going to kill you one day, who knows, right? But whether you like it or not, this is the current trend, yeah? Moodang gets you to connect to a message. Now, is it right? I don't know. Does it work? Absolutely. All right. Another thing I'm going to be talking about is creativity. Now, I'm not going to go in much detail, but standing out in the digital world. A lot of really nice messages have been spoken today about supporting your local businesses, about supporting many different types of businesses. But how do you do this, right? Is it good enough to be the best in what you do? In my opinion, not if you can't market yourself, yeah? And there's many different ways that we find ways to be creative. And that's short-form video, long-term video, and just being honest. So the reason I spoke about connectivity as the first thing was because people want to experience things rather than being told what to buy. So when you're going back home on the BTS today and you see that lovely poster of the celebrity, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Maybe you're going up in the elevator and you look to the top right of the elevator and there's a VGI TV there telling you to buy your next ticket with Vietjet. Maybe that connects with you, maybe it doesn't. But maybe it could be an influencer on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter. It doesn't really matter where. If they can connect to you, you're more likely to buy it, or you're more likely to buy into the idea of it than if you were told what to do. Diversifying your content, guys, it's more important than ever now to use multi-channels of posting, what am I saying? It's more important than ever now to diversify your content into multi-channel marketing. It's not enough to just use your favorite channel. You need to use every channel available. It's a difference of 50,000 views to 500,000 views. If you're wondering why are people not knowing about my brand, it's probably because you're not marketing it well. And it's not about money. There are clients that pay 1 million baht, and then there's the clients who are smaller businesses who have 20,000 baht. If you know what you're doing, you can learn it, then you'll be a lot more effective. If there's anything you're going to take from this presentation, there's 3 things. 1, connect with your audience. People connect with people. AI is a tool that will help you be more efficient. And lastly, less is more. Repurpose your content. Use multi-channels marketing. If you want to find out more, you can talk to me later. Thank you. I'm Jay.
Our next speaker, we have Romain. Romain is the strategist, head of branding, and founder of and creative director, of Tredit Creatives and the Lunist. And welcome on stage, Romain, and he's going to talk about concepts.
Okay. Hello. Hello, everyone. Obviously, it's very close. So I'm here. Actually, I was supposed to talk about something called Picture Perfect, but I thought that you can't have a good picture without a good story. So I preferred to actually get back into the root of what is design for me, and for me is a good story. A thoughtful narrative should precede design, driving every element toward a unified goal. The goal is very important, and the goal should be a story. The design should always refer to the story and not the other way around. Where does it come from? Where did I get that idea? Actually, it came from the moment I stepped in Thailand when I moved from France. My first project was actually a fashion brand. And when I did the fashion brand, I used all I learned about graphic design, interior design, and whatever design to create collections. It sounds odd for a person that doesn't come from fashion, but it was super amazingly creative. But it's also taught me that any collection is actually a story. There's a backbone behind, and all this backbone is driving every single piece of clothes, all the show on stage that connect emotionally to people, but also like when you do your facade or anything, it's like an open book to your own brain, your own team's brain. And this is where I thought like, wow, this is great. You can tell a story through design. Excellent, so let's do it for anything. So then I applied it to interior design, hospitality, and everything that I did after. So why is it so important? Because too often, I think like in agency and creative teams, they jump right away, especially in hospitality. What's the floor plan? What's the textures on the wall? What's the flow of the floor? No, question is, what is the story? What do you want to tell? And that's the most important in my opinion. That's why I do strategy and branding, because I want stories. And what is the foundation of great stories? The first is a vision. You want to actually carry something. You want to have something to tell, something to share with your guests, with your customers. And that's the foundation. You have to have a goal. You have to have a vision very far. And this vision should drive an emotion, because that's how you connect with people. We just talked about media and all these ideas of how do you connect. That's an emotion, and there's many ways to do it visually. The soundscape can do it, the uniform can do it, but the most important, you have to connect emotionally with your guests. And then the constant thread. The constant thread for me is that the story starts at one point and probably never ends, but it's always where you refer to evolve your concept, to evolve your design. You can even rebrand under the same story because times are changing. So without storytelling, no concept leave a lasting impression. That's what I believe. I think when you see a great design, sometimes you can feel like, oh wow, it's amazing, it's impressive, but what is the story behind? What does I get when I go home? Nothing. And this is why you have to craft your narrative, the soul of the modern design. And this is important in my opinion, because a good story, when you read a book, I was telling my son the other day, when you watch TV, you have a digested story. You just you are just watching it. You don't actually use your brain. But when you read a book, actually different person have a different picture. And that's why the story is interpreted by designer on different fields, on interior design, branding, and uniform, fashion, in a different way. You can say red is red. Yes, yeah, red is red, but a carmine is not a fuchsia and is not, it doesn't matter. The story will drive the way you're gonna connect everything together. And this is why, to me, bringing the story to life, it is, yes, the visual aspect, the physical aspect, but it can be also a strong soundscape, a strong element that will also vehicle a different version of the same story. And that's why some designs, some hotels look so much better than others. It's not necessarily because you design it well, or everybody's a good designer, to be honest. But when the story is right, it all makes sense. It's all very authentic, and this is why it should be the base of it. And then once everything is coming together, then the branding comes, my part, the second part. Once the story, the designer, then the brand. And then everything from the menu to your collaterals, your marketing, your story. On the digital sphere, everything comes from the same golden thread that is so important and fundamental. And then the last part, especially for hospitality, because that's my daily driver now, make the guest the hero of your story. Always keep in mind that a guest is not coming to a space to see like, oh wow, amazing, this texture on the wall, oh, this fabric on the cushion, amazing. No, they don't care. What they care is when they enter a space or a restaurant or anything, a bar, they want to be part of a story that your staff will tell in a certain way. Your tone of voice will be infused by that story. The uniform relate to something, your furnitures, your OS&E, everything comes under the same thread of the story. And this is why I believe like you need all to make sense in a single package to make your guest the hero of your story, and this memory will last forever. You can see a short example of one of our latest project in Singapore, which is transform a fitness first into a high-end Michelin-star Japanese steakhouse. Everything was the story. It was about crossing Shibuya at night under the rain, and you can see actually in detail all the textures and everything belong to that story. So then to conclude, the story is the golden thread. The goal isn't to impress people or to win prizes when you're a designer. It is to make the memory last forever. And this is what you, as a designer, should aim. Your guests, your customers, your judge, anyone should have a memory that lasts forever. Thank you.
So our last speaker, it's sad that BRAC is coming to an end. We've got Ant covering high spirits, and Ant is the co-owner of Tap Cultural Bar in Bangkok. So welcome Ant to the stage.
Thank you. I will talk a little bit more on the concept of high spirits, and if high spirits become the core concept of your product, if you are hospitality in Thailand, is that sellable, or how far can we go with that concept? So pretty much, anyone in the room heard of the concept of Mad Men? Anyone from Mad Men industry? Oh, we have a few, not many. If you don't know, doesn't matter. Mad Men, it's about people from advertising, people like me. People from advertising are so obsessed with storytelling. We create stories telling for any brand, any products. Anything would sell. Selling products to the people who didn't even need that product, right? Like creating shampoo concepts for the bald people. Why? But you know, we are so obsessed about stories. So today I will go and pick a few examples of a good concept in your brand that create a good story and it's sellable. So moving next, I think my first story was back in 2014 when I found out that year in particular, 15 million people visited Bangkok, and we beat New York and London for the first time in the history of the country. I don't know why, so I dig deeper, and I found that, oh, basically, actually, they came to Thailand because we're a happy bunch. We're happy people. We are aromdi all the time, happy maybe almost all the time, not all the time, but yeah. We're happy people. They love our culture. They love the sabai kind of thinking. So they visited us, and they love, another part that they love so much is about our culture. Anything that we put to life that is our culture, they will fall in love with it. So I think culture is something that could be sold very easy. And within the past 10 years, I think that proves a lot. Culture has been living and breathe and growing very well. So let's take a concept or a good concept, for example. If we want to write anything about a location as a concept that sells for your business, if you take location, for example, can you sell anything about location? Take maybe Ban Tepa, a fine dining restaurant, for example. Ban Tepa is surrounded by gardens of fresh produce. They grow their own produce. When customers are there, they can talk more, tell more the stories, and then people will feel that, okay, they're sitting right in front of the gardens where everything is fresh. That is another angle of the stories, right? Take restaurant Potong, located right in the center of Chinatown, Yaorat. It's a perfect balance of traditional and innovation at the same time. That's how restaurant Potong is doing. Or maybe take Thep Bar as a concept. We turn a 100-year-old shop house into a hub of a cultural for Thai country. So pretty much imagine these three brands that I mentioned. Imagine if they would have started their first branch in the department store. I don't think their story would be the same, right? So story of the location, it's also sellable. If you are gonna start a new business soon, try to dig deeper in the story around your location. Maybe there's something. Taking further, apart from location, of course, we know drinks can sell. Your menu can sell. We have this ingredients, we have that ingredient. It's from the Himalaya, it's from the underground. But can we write a concept of a drinks that goes beyond ingredients, for example? I have new projects coming up this year. And this location of the project, it's a bar located right in the center where people are selling herbs in Bangkok. And this location is actually next door to a neighbor who is actually a Thai traditional medicine doctor. So this bar decided to, okay, I will work with this doctor, and came up with the herbal shot concepts that is actually remind them of the old remedies. These drinks even, have a benefit that boosts your lipido. What about that, right? So concept that that connects to your local community, also give a very strong signal, and it could sell you even further, right? So who's up for a drink? Maybe it's too early. Oh, we have a few. Okay, not yet. What about this one? If you see this product, we can of course explain, and all in all, we have these ingredients blend with that. But imagine if we are selling this as, this is a refreshing cocktail, herbal infused, inspired by the Songkran Water Festival of Thailand. It will cleanse your palate, and it will refresh your mood of the day when you're visiting Bangkok. How about that, right? That is another way to take the story of your brand to the product level and let it breathe further, rather than just, I sell this and it mixed with that, right? Enough of the example of drinks, and maybe people get a bit tipsy already. Experience. What about the story of your experience? I will land it on one of my favorite brand called Sut Rang Ma Records. They are record labels started 10 years ago, and today they became the headquarters of a Molam Institute. They took this Isan sound to the world stage and spin it very far. So I think Sut Rang Ma is also another example where story could go beyond just, writing a flat, this is my brand, this is what it stands for. It could spin to many, many angles. Last but not least, it lands me on this final thoughts. I think Thailand is a very rich country, and if we wanted to sell high spirits, we're a happy bunch, happy people smiling all the time. I think it's time that we balance the happy ending search result when we find Google with a true joy as a destination of high spirits. Keep crafting the stories. Thank you.